Hello, baseball fans, collectors, and investors, and welcome back to Iconic Baseball. I am Iconic Al, and today's video, number 97 on our countdown, covers not one but two players that are inseparable and controversial. I'm talking about the two guys that captivated the country back in 1998 during an epic home run chase. If you're my age, then you clearly remember that year and have nostalgia around these two players. I'm talking about Big Mac, Mark McGwire, and Slammin' Sammy Sosa.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and cracker jack. I don't care if I never get back. Let me root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
In 1998, I was 16 years old. My brother was 13. Born and raised in Pittsburgh, diehard Pirates fans, we were going to between 20 and 30 ball games a season, getting in for between $1 and $6 a ticket. The Pirates are in the National League Central. So are the St. Louis Cardinals and the Chicago Cubs. So in the historic 98 home run chase, we had front row seats. We were going to games, going early for batting practice, staying late to wait for the players to come out of the players' exit. And our life in the summer was batting practice, ball game, stay late for autographs, rinse and repeat. So in those years, you can imagine McGwire and Sosa coming to town. McGwire or Sosa coming to town was like Elvis and the Beatles coming to town. And in that time, the fan response was overwhelming for these two players. I think we did try to get McGwire and Sosa's autograph in 98, but we were unsuccessful. We watched the home run chase, read the newspaper every day, watched the highlights on TV, followed it like everyone else did. And then in 99, a season where we went to, I believe, even more games, I think probably closer to 30 games that year, my brother and I, were able to successfully get McGwire and Sosa's autograph during batting practice. In those days, McGwire and Sosa would take a Sharpie pen from the first fan they got to and would just proceed to sign every item with the same pen because it was quicker, it was more efficient, and they could get to more autographs that way, get to more fans that way. So this is why you see here McGwire signed baseball in black Sharpie on the side panel and Sosa's autograph in blue Sharpie on the sweet spot. It was more out of convenience and efficiency that they would sign in Sharpie. And at that time, we were thrilled. I believe I got the McGwire signed back in, I think it was August of 1999. And my brother was able to get Sosa back in July of 1999. And I still have the proof, so to speak. This shows you how big of a baseball dork that I was and still am. I made my own certificate of authenticity, typed it up on my Macintosh computer, my parents' Macintosh computer, and they had some software program where you could upload some certificate function and then put in your own information. It is hereby certified that the baseball which accompanies this document has been personally autographed by Mark McGwire. The autograph was obtained by me directly from Mark McGwire on August 8th, 1999 at Three Rivers Stadium. And of course I saved the original ticket from the game, $6 general admission, to accompany the baseball. I was already thinking about authenticity at 16 years old as a young collector because I was buying all-time greats at that point already and knew how important it was to show provenance and authenticity, even then. So, little piece of baseball dorkiness there. And I did the same thing for Sosa. And this is actually one my brother got. And then I got in a trade at some point. Same deal, except this was obtained on July 6th of 99. And there's our game ticket from that day. So we have provenance along with these autographs. I think we thought that these would be historically a little bit more significant and more valuable than they ended up being, because as we've now learned, the steroids era has tainted a lot of these numbers. And certainly the home run record that McGwire broke was Roger Maris, 61 home runs back in 1961. McGwire hit 70 in 1998, which then was subsequently broken by Barry Bonds with 73 home runs in 2001. So the single season home run record, not so much what it used to be. But for these players, you have to come back to what is iconic. What is the definition of iconic? And for that, Webster's dictionary references iconic as being widely known and associated with greatness or exceptional performance. Well, you could say that these two players are as widely known as anybody. If you take anybody off the street and ask them, hey, you ever heard of Mark McGwire? Most people will say, oh yeah, of course. Sammy Sosa? Yeah, same thing. So these players will always be iconic, will always be remembered for this period of time where they made history, captivated the nation. And they were cultural icons and still are. As history goes, will the opinion soften on the steroids era? And maybe it becomes more and more looked at as just that, an era, a time where Major League Baseball was partly complicit, looking the other way, and not truly enforcing rules that were on the book. So we'll see. Time will tell. Do we eventually see Bonds, Clemens, Manny Ramirez, Alex Rodriguez get into the Hall of Fame? Because we most certainly already have players in the Hall of Fame that are linked to PEDs, most likely use steroids, and this is the era that we're talking about. So, me personally, I think of it as an era. You can take the best of an era and celebrate them. And it's, to me, that you know as a fan that Mark McGwire's 583 home runs probably aren't on the up and up, and you're not going to look at that the same way that you're going to look at Willie Mays' 660 home runs. It's different eras, and you just have to know that as a fan. But the fact of the matter is, McGwire and Sosa both had long, prolific careers. They combined to hit almost 1,200 home runs. Sosa was a 30-30 player twice, and a 20-20 player a couple other times. McGwire won a Gold Glove Award and a World Series. So these were guys that actually had careers. They had long and prolific careers. You know the numbers aren't completely believable, and they were higher than they would have been had they not been enhancing. And we may never know to what extent that enhancement helped their numbers, but to turn your back on players like this and pretend they didn't exist isn't really fair. That's why I penalize McGwire and Sosa a bit by putting them on the same number 97, on this list. And but I'm not going to turn my back on them. They were great in their time, regardless of the amount of enhancement that they achieved or they used. And that's my piece on McGwire and Sosa. Iconic athletes in their time. Remember to follow, like, and subscribe to these videos because we're just getting this started, and all of that assistance really helps. Until next time, keep collecting and stay iconic.